Guys, welcome back. How are you? Have you been enjoying the sound design? Is the sound design living up to your expectations? Have I gotten too deep into simpler that it is freaking you all out? And yeah, we're we're gonna be sticking to simpler. Not today. Actually, no, we will use simpler because I think we're probably gonna do operator today, or maybe wavetable. And I think that's going to be kind of a new thing that we do. I've had these ideas of like what I wanted to cover, and like I almost feel like I've covered everything. And now I feel like I want to do the opposite of that, where I just relax and just hang out, which was always the point. And not being so structured. Maybe that's just how I feel right now. Maybe that's just how the energies are going and flowing inside of me, flowing in the collective. I have no idea. But what I want to do, and what I think we're gonna do a lot more of, is we're literally just gonna open up a synthesizer we feel like using. Maybe it's operator, maybe it's wavetable, maybe it's analog, maybe it's collision, maybe it's tension, whatever. Make a really cool sound. I'll explain everything I'm doing, whether it's within the synthesizer, then within the audio effects I use, and then we're gonna print that sound out, which means bouncing it to audio, and then taking that audio and then throwing it into one of Ableton's samplers. And there's a lot of Ableton samplers. And so what's really cool is that when we get this really cool, unique sound that we recorded, from doing sound design in one of Ableton's native synthesizers, is we then get like a very unique piece of audio, a very great sounding piece of audio, and then taking that, throwing it into one of Ableton's samplers, which there's many. If you've been following along and watching, you realize there's a lot more than just simpler and sampler. And being able to then take that amazing thing that we made and then do even more with it. And we might, in what's really cool about these different samplers that are available to us, is that it allows us to come up with things that we would have never come up with otherwise. So let's get going and flowing. And I don't think we've used operator in a while, so I think that might be a good place to start. Maybe we'll start with wavetable next time, or maybe we'll even do wavetable today. I can never tell. Sometimes I end up doing so much talking that I get tired and then I don't have enough brain juice to really do a whole lot. Maybe I shouldn't sell myself short. If there's a thing I need to do, I'm just going to do it, regardless if I'm tired or not. So where do we start with operator? Well, I'm gonna start, I realized when I was out walking little Pudgy Chunky, good little boy, I realized every time that I start with a synthesizer, I want to start with the basics quickly. Not going over the architecture and how everything works and the routings of operator, but like what you want to be asking yourself anytime you open up any synth. So maybe like one of your friends is like, hey, download this plugin or get this new synth or whatever, or Ableton, hey, did you check Ableton 11.3? Everyone has the new synth, which I believe is called Drift. Have you used it yet? And sometimes it can seem daunting, but it's really not if you just sort of cover the basics. So right now we're in operator, and the first thing is, where is your volume envelope? Well, here it is. It's right here. Look. I'm taking it down, opening it up, adding some release. So the first thing you'd want to know is where your volume envelope is. Can you imagine if you got like a new synthesizer and like, I don't know, for some weird reason, like the volume envelope was like down here like this, and like, like you're wondering why when you're holding down a note, something doesn't happen. You know what I mean? That would be the first place you would need to go. So you're like, oh, okay, well, that was down. Okay, so here's... All right, there we go. It's all right there. The next thing would be, what's your waveform? You'd be like, oh, okay, what's the waveform? Oh, it's a sine wave. Oh, well, here's other waveforms I could do. Oh, I could do a saw. Okay, but we're on sine wave. Wonderful. So that's where you always want to start. The next thing would be, where is the filter? Because there's always going to be a filter. No, the filter's right here. So there you go. And different filter types. You're probably always going to be on here, which is the low pass filter. So you can cut out the brightness and then add the filter envelope. And that would probably be the next thing. Oh, where's the filter envelope? Oh, it's right here. But as we know, a filter envelope does not do anything unless you give it an amount. So the next question would be, where's the amount? Right down here, envelope percentage, but we're going to leave it at 0. So you're going to want to ask yourself that every time you work with any synth. If you're feeling stuck, because a lot of times, rather than being, trying to stay afloat in like the choppy waters, and you're like, what's going on? Where's the life raft? Why is this water so choppy? Can I turn some knobs and make the water less choppy? Rather than doing that, if you sort of always ask yourself these things, because I'll be honest with you guys, there's a lot of synthesizers, like when we were going over poly and bass and tension and collision and little like different ones where I didn't use them because I'm like, oh, it'll take so long to learn. No, everything's like the same. And then the final thing you would want to know is where your LFOs are, which there's going to be inbuilt LFOs, but because we're using Ableton and it's got this, which is just the best, it's right there. So yeah, and when we open up Wavetable, whether it's now or whether it's the next one, we'll do that in Wavetable as well, because that's where we want to start. I don't want you guys to think that this is some magical, well, it is magical, but I don't want you to think that it's some weird thing that you only can figure out if you've been doing this for years, because that's not. You just need to know where to start, and it needs to make sense. So if you're loving that, support the channel. Hey guys, what is going on? OpenSea, it's an NFT marketplace. Own this art. If you would like to support, purchase it. How exciting. And then you own this art. Wonderful. Old man. Now back to the show. NFT, there's exclusive content that you get access to when you are an NFT holder. I know who's an NFT holder because I get to see which wallet, bought it, and then, you have access to that, and then you unlock the unlockable content. And we're going to have a lot of really cool free unlockable content. If you have any ideas of what some of that cool unlockable content will be, let me know. The first thing is a secret SDHO that I recorded when I was a little bit over animated, a little bit overserved. So I'm excited to know. And who knows, someone probably already purchased that one already. So let's get into it with the operator. So what are we really trying to do with operator right now? Operator's FM. I want to get a really nice, cool FM sound, and it would be silly of me to not throw a Spectrum. Yeah, Spectrum, we love Spectrum. Because why not? You want to see it move and groove and boom. Okay. Now, I'm not going to shift it down and get it bassier and fatter. Ooh, look, 333. Well, it turned off when I said 333. That means we're doing something good here. That means we are creating our life. We are creating sounds. We are sound scientists. Let's keep moving on. So oftentimes, you've got this A channel, B, C. Now, believe it or not, each time you click these, this middle thing updates. So if I go into B and I do this, watch when I click C, oh, it's up because this one's up. So just wanted you to know that. These are all highlighted, but we can turn them off, save some CPU. So if we turned on B, nothing's going to happen unless we give it a level. And that's kind of what you do, because we want to introduce FM. Right now, all we have is A. It is a sine wave. And when you're doing FM, you really don't need anything other than sine waves. I mean, yeah, you can play with these if you want, but you can get very bright, which these are very bright. You can get very bright just by using FM. And according to the research I've done on FM over the years, that was kind of like FM's thing. It's we're only going to use sine waves, but the sine waves, which is just the fundamental, we can. Why is frequency so low? See, look, sine wave, and yet we got this craziness. Why does it sound weird like it's kicking back? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because it's the release. Anytime you get that weird stuff, it's always the release. So give it some release. Oh, that's too bright. In fact, let's go over here to this section and go shift down arrow on transpose, which takes it down an octave. Yeah, let's do it again. So what's one thing you can do? Well, we can go into here and basically do what we would do with like a filter envelope, and we can... FM can give you some good bass sounds. And what you could do also is you can go into this LFO, because it's like the same, but what if it like changed a little bit? Well, why don't we do that a little bit? Take this LFO amount down and let's map it to the decay. Notice how now it's like different, it's like changing a little bit. Now watch when I turn the LFO off. Same. It's boring, we don't want that. Someone will be like, "Aye." Put it back on. Those little changes. Maybe click the offset up a little bit. That was too much. That's cool. Let's actually come over here, delete the LFO. Let's go back up here and drop another LFO. I don't want to do that because I just want that really good LFO sound. So and you can come over to coarse, jack it up to 2 and get more higher harmonics. Move it up to 3. And like when you do a lot of that, you can get really unusual higher order harmonics that they're not exactly completely mathematically related to the fundamental. The fundamental is just this. It's like this starting pitch of this D note right here. And then and I'm going to take this down on B, activate B and bring up the level. Now we get some of that FM. Let's go all the way up and get really crazy FM-y. Hear how like it's got like a bell, like kind of like a bell, like kind of a sound way up here. You can make it fade in. Now, when we're fading it in, we're not fading in the volume, we're fading in the effect. Now listen to it. More. Maybe take down the sustain a little bit. Maybe bring out the decay. That's kind of weird. It's almost like it's kicking over. That's very interesting. Now let's give it a little bit of fine tune to see if that can maybe give us some drift. A little bit. I was actually going to make a pad. I was going to make an FM pad, but because I want to print this out and then throw it in one of our samplers, because this sound sounds so unique, I kind of want to just want to leave it here. I kind of want all of its craziness. I'm just going to delete that LFO because we don't need it, and I'm going to close this down. And then what I'm going to do is we can keep this here. So if you like it, you can come into here and you can click on this and save it to presets. See this little floppy disk symbol, which is like the universal symbol for save. You know what I mean? So we got a cool sound here, very interesting. And we are going to insert an audio track. We could just do audio from Operator if we wanted, but I'll just do resampling just because I normally do that. It's a force of habit. I'm going to click record here. And you want to make sure it's record enabled, both of them. If you're not able to do that, just go to preferences, go to the record tab, and exclusive right here. ARM is unchecked. That's what will allow you to do multiple at one time. Okay. Okie dokie. So let's click record. Double click. Oh, look, it's recording. Wonderful. Now let's play a note. Stop it. You can just turn these off now. I'm gonna call this Crazy FM. We're not gonna play with it anymore. It was cool. I don't want to shut it down because I might want to just open up this project and play with it later or save it or something. And I'll just Command R, Control R on a PC and just call it Crazy FM. So I'll just remember what this was. Now we've got a problem here. I don't like the way that this looks. I want to chop it. And there's a way you can like... Didn't need to do that, but I just wanted to play around with that because you can like do things like that. So let's click play on this. We won't hear anything unless we go to auto, but let's just test that to make sure. Maybe let's get more of the... Now, if you click in here, you go to crop sample, so we get a nice, wonderful sample. Command-Shift-T, Control-Shift-T, hotkey for the MIDI track. And what are we going to do? Well, I want to throw it into one of Ableton's samplers. There's a lot of them. You might think I'm acting all crazy here, and you would indeed be correct. But there's a lot of samplers. See if you can guess them. Pause the video, see if you can guess them, write them down on a paper. Did you know? If you've been following along and doing your homework here, you would know. So let's start simple first. Simpla, which is our new best friend. Then we've got sampler, which is the granddaddy. Sampler, that's just more feature robust than simpler. But you guys already knew those two. What are the other ones? Vector grain. That comes with the Inspired by Nature pack by Dylan Bastian, which is basically like the best pack you can get. So look at this, drop sample here. And by the way, we've been using a lot of vector grain on this channel. I figured out something very important about it that I didn't know, so we're definitely gonna be playing with it. But what else? What are the other ones? Well, we have another granular synthesizer that we did a few ago, but for this one we have to go to Max for Live Packs. They really should just boot it over here to Instruments, but this one's been around for a long time and it's amazing. Granulator 2. This is a sample. Why is it a sample? Because you're throwing a sample in here and then these are your controls. So rather than these controls of sampler, these controls of simpler, you have these vector grain controls for the vector grain. And then for granulator, well, you have these controls. You're throwing a sampler in there. Thus, it's a sampler. So what other samplers do we have? Oh, we are not done. Go back to instruments here. Emit. Emit. Oh, what do you know? Drop sample here. It's a sampler. And technically, we have a fifth sampler, although not really. So if we go into simpler right here and we decide to, and maybe that's where we'll start, we drag it into here, well then we can come to MIDI effects and then we can use these awesome bouncy notes. Bouncy notes isn't a sampler, but like if we are trying to take our recorded output, which this is our recorded output. In fact, I'm going to turn off bouncy notes. We'll start with the basic, like simpler, because we don't do sampler anymore, because we are all inclusive on this channel. Everyone, because like there's so many reasons to use a sampler when you're doing sound design. Like right now, we just did an amazing sound, amazing unique sound with operator, and we're using that as like our paint. That's like our paint that we're going to then be dipping our brush into, and we're going to be using that as the basis for all these cool things that we are going to be doing with these devices. So this is just going to be our I don't know, samples track. We've got this here, perfectly beautiful cut. We could probably move it in here, but that doesn't matter. You know, it's not a game of inches here. What is this? We'll just call this simpler bouncy, because I want to start just with this simpler, and then we're going to add the bouncy notes. So what would you do? Okay, so maybe you didn't cut your sample so good, and you know, it's, I don't know, it's like starts there or something, or it starts like way back from here. Well, you can move it in. You want to kind of move it into where it starts. Right now, because it's right at this, see this like little gray line? It goes up and down, you know, and all of this. If there's this little bit of silence, which, let's face it, there's hardly anything here. And by the way, if you're not able to move this thing very freely, it's probably because you have snap turned on down here. So turn snap off. Just so you know, if whenever you're working with any of Ableton Live's instruments or devices, if you find that like you're always throwing on the device, you know, it's the default device, and you're always turning off filter envelope, you're always turning off snap, you're always turning off this, once you get the settings the way you like, you can right click on the bar and do save as default preset, and then every time you drag a simpler in, or whatever one you use, you can do that. Because like analog, when you drop a default analog, it's got all of these like filter envelope amounts applied and all of this random crap that like I didn't want. So I just turned all of that off and was like, this is what I want my device to be like as the default preset. So, you know, I dropped, because I can guarantee it's the way for you. You know, I just dropped a simpler on a track. You know, it looks like this. I took snap off because most of the time you're not going to want that, but maybe you are someone who needs that snap on, in which case don't do it. I turned it off. Boom, save as the default preset. Don't need this. Let's go back to simpler bouncy. So I think we're going to be doing a whole lot of this, which is create wonderful sounds, then throw them into the different samplers, have fun with it. And so what are we going to do? Well, first we got to record enable so we can hear it. Let's go to one shot. Do you guys remember what we would do with one shot? One shot is if we would want to play it like we would want to play it with, what's it called? So if we play C3, we play it back at the default pitch. You already knew that because you were playing along. Maybe give it more of a fade out. It's too bright. Take down the filter frequency. Now it doesn't hurt your ears. Maybe you want to give it a fade in because you're feeling that today. Now, what you notice is it's set up in a way where it's monophonic, okay? So when I'm hitting all those different little notes, when it's in one-shot mode, so for instance, if I want to play a chord, I won't be able to. Right now I'm playing 3 notes. Can't do it. Why? Because short is monophonic. So if you wanted to just play it like that, you would go to the one-shot. You already knew that because we are simpler masterminds right now. We are the, everyone is... That sounds kind of nice. So what you could do is you could go into controls here, which I'm going to open this up. You could go into the controls here and go to envelope and give it an amount. And now look at this envelope amount contour and tell me what you think would happen when I start adding this up. What do you think is going to happen to the sound? Yeah, I don't really like that. Not at all. Not even in the slightest bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to classic. I don't really like this display, but it's challenging me, and so I think that that's probably a good thing. Actually, I don't want that right now. Not yet, because I'd rather have this open, and I'd rather have Spectrum open. I've like fallen in love with having Spectrum on there because like it's showing me things about this sound that I wouldn't have probably gotten. So now we can come into classic here. And now you notice it doesn't really do the same thing. That's not fun. Well, that's because we got to now go to the release. Jack that release up, my friends. And it lost some volume. Let's give it some more volume. Normally when you throw it into the sampler, it loses some volume. But let's put the... And let's go back into the controls, and let's... have to take the frequency down. You can either adjust them up here or just like move these. Sometimes it's a lot easier to do this because see how it's doing the decay and the sustain at the same time. I should probably get some filter drive on this just to give it more beef. And I might want to play with a glide over here, but that's what I want to do yet. Now I want to get bouncy notes into the fray. And actually, let's just take away the Spectrum because we really don't need that. Let's double click to open this up, and let's click auto and see what happens. Oh, no. Oh, no. It can't go that high because it hurts my ears, probably hurts your ears. To help with the hurting of the ears, when you have very, very high frequency sounds, the higher frequencies hurt. If you throw a corpus on it, it like blends them and makes them a lot easier to hear. But I want to take steps to just ratify that right now. So I'm going to take it off auto. Range. I want to take down the range a lot. Okay. So I wanted to get into bouncy notes because even though bouncy notes is the only one that is not a sampler, because you're not dropping a thing in it, you would use it in conjunction. So we took our nice... So first we started here with Crazy FM. We made a sound we really liked. Okay, take a nap. And we bounced it to audio, and we made sure we cut our nice little audio sample, all nice and nice. Take a nap. Go to simpler bouncy. What did we do? Oh no, where did it go? Go back to the sample tab, see sample controls. You ever get confused? Always think, okay, look, there's these little tabs down here. We're in classic. There's these tabs up here. The sample tab, the controls tab. Just get familiar with it. Play with it a little bit, you know, show it some love. So here's the thing. We can now throw it in and we can, you know, play it up and down. It's too much bouncing. Let's take it down to 1. This is saying how long are these balls going to be? So we've got all the fun things that we can do, throwing it into simpler, which we only just did a little bit right there. But then we've got bouncy notes. And so I want to hit a note and it should bounce for about a bar. And notice how we have that nice fade, right? The ball ended, but we still had a fade. Why? Or excuse me, we had like a tail, a trail off. We had a release. Why do we have a release? Because we have a release right here, silly. But I wanted to say that because if you were wondering why that wasn't happening, you know, that's why you would always want to look back there. Now, I don't really like this because it's, okay. So if we go to, so right now I'm pushing notes and the balls are falling, but I would rather put it on auto. Auto is gonna just shoot balls out as long as this 666, as long as this transpose up here is running. So let's go to auto. It's too bright. I don't like this. So let's go to the filter frequency. Well, first of all, I'm gonna go into controls and I'm gonna just turn the filter envelope off. I'm going to turn this frequency up. What should we do? See how this is how many balls it will drop. Let's go into hold on, where is it? Okay. That's not in key. Now, I'm going to turn auto off, and I'm going to... So see how we have down here? We've got this stuff. Chromatic scale means every note. Let's go to Phrygian dominant. Okay? Let's... What key? D. Let's start at D1. The range will be how many notes? And let's click back auto and see what we like. So we're constraining it to a scale. Why did it sound like it was all over the place? Because we were in the chromatic scale. And if you're thinking there's too many features here, no, geez, you got to get the scale. Well, you could go back to MIDI effects and drop the scale. It would do the same thing. So let's enact auto. Now again, if I want to click my own specific notes, I can when it's on this press mode. Why does it sound so abrasive? That's because it's a very abrasive sound. It's got a lot of high frequencies. So if you don't want that, I would cut some of these frequencies out. Now it won't sound so crazy. Let's put it on auto. Now we want random direction, so they move around a little bit. Now, I don't like this sounding too abrasive, so I'm going to take this resonance down, I'm going to take the drive down, and I want to make them bounce. So see how I took the range down? Now it's not going so high. Now it's almost sounding a little bit like a sound, kind of like a sad song, because like Phrygian dominant's a little bit like, what's it called? I don't know. Let's take up the lifetime a little bit to 2 beats. Let's move the speed up. Let's play with the gravity. I like how it's bouncing on the walls. Take the mass down. Very cool. Can you see how cool this is? Done with it. So right now, because we have this release and we're in classic mode, we're playing just like one shot, except we have multiple voices. So if I took voices down to 1, now we'll be doing the exact same thing as one shot because it plays all the way through because we have release all the way up, but it's only playing one note at a time. So listen. Oh, and if you want some glide, come to control, turn on the glide, and maybe take the glide down a little bit. Let's turn it off. Just wanted to let you know that it was there. Go back to sample. So if you went to one shot, it would be the same thing. So at any point, you could just choose to loop this. Take any point because it's the same. You know what we're going to do. And now you can just make your own customizable synth. Let's get the spectrum back going and flowing. Watch the waveform. Shoa. Go to controls, transpose it down 2 octaves. Let's do this little bunch. Start it kind of around the 0 crossing. I'll just double click the pitch and just pitch it down till I like where it's at. Let's give some free. Let's go to the future. If you lower the amount, it's like less attacky. So you know we got some bass. Wonderful. Do you love it? By the way, we're not using sampler anymore on this channel. If we need purely a sampler, we're going simpler, because a lot of people out there only have simpler. We have to give love to them. And I actually think simpler, believe it or not, with all the other unique tools that Ableton now gives you, like the LFO, like envelope MIDI, like not doing the envelope MIDI song. First person to buy NFT gets exclusive access to the envelope MIDI song. You can do what you want with it. And if you choose to release the song to everyone else, then I will be able to sing it. Right now I'm like the Little Mermaid or whatever. Like I can't sing the envelope MIDI song unless someone buys an NFT, and then I can sing it. But if you are the NFT holder, you can make the envelope MIDI song spell stay in effect, and I won't be able to ever sing it again. Or you can release it to everyone, or you can keep it for yourself. Yeah, we're having fun. This is a good community. It's very small. That's good. People love when the community is small. If this were to be mainstream and I have like 1 million views every video, everyone would just be mad and upset. So let's be grateful for that. So what are we going to do? Well, let's get off of this. We did some fun, but now let's get to the more esoteric samplers. I'm going to keep this open. So you could come into here. Oh, I want to play that again. And then click the save button. It'll show up in your... it would show up in your user library. So you would go user library, you would go to presets, you would go to the instruments. What is the simpler? You click on the simpler. Oh, what is this? This looks interesting. Well, I don't know what this is. Why don't we take a look? I'm going to drag this over to this channel over here, and I'm going to unarm this one and arm this one. Let's see what this is. Well, what do you... Oh boy, what the heck is this? This is scaring me. I don't even know what this is. Let's push play. Crazy, crazy. I like that. You want to know what's crazy about that? This is just some sample. Like I probably just zoomed in. Like it looks like it's probably like one sample or one piece of audio here and then another one here. And so then we can, you know, where is the thing? Oh, right here. Oh, look. So like, you know, we can... That's why this thing is so good. That's why I have to make sure you guys know it, okay? To make sure you guys know it. So we're going to close this down. We are going to open up another MIDI track. And we're going to drag, well, we're not going to drag Crazy Boy in here yet, or Crazy F, whatever Crazy F is. What is Crazy F? Could you be a Crazy F? I don't even know. So where should we go next? Well, what's another sampler, you say? What's another one of those samplers? Well, let's go to instrument. Well, we're not using sampler ever, and we already just used simpler. And we had fun with bouncy notes, although that's not a sampler, but it's great when used with the sampler. Let's go to the vector grain. Drop it out of MIDI track, of course. You can't you can't drop these on audio tracks. You just drag pieces of audio on audio tracks. So let's drag Crazy Effer onto vector grain. And Here's something I learned, my friends, about vector grain that I didn't know all the other times I used it. And by the way, this length, because we have this trail off, let's just cut it to here. Okay, so we've got start. Nope, I want it right at the beginning. Length, I don't want this dead space, so we could maybe just move it here, but maybe this might do something interesting if we, this little trail off. Okay. You've got these different tabs here. Notice how there's always like tabs. This can get very heady, especially these things, and I might turn these off. See how this says filter hertz and it's up and down? When these little balls go up and down, it'll be the filter, up and down, filter hertz. Left and right is the pan, so like panning to the left and the right. You can obviously choose, and then we've got this other panel here. This affects like the physics properties. And then this has to do with like adding the emitter and the mass and the charge. It's very heady. We're going to keep it on this one for now. And what you could do is, of course, record enable. And now when I click a note, just one note, look what happens. Now let's do 3 notes. Let's do a trad. Now, why is it going all the way through here? It should not be doing that. I don't want it to go this way. It's all black here, so why would it even be doing that? I'm going to move this loop in. Notice how it's starting in different places. But what if, because this transpose is running up here, what if I did this instead? I'm gonna push and hold grains right here. See how it says MIDI? Let's move it up. Didn't know that. Now it's just gonna play. I didn't know that the other times, but I figured it out. I figured it out for you guys. I might do more. I want 7. Lucky number 7. Makes me feel mental. And then you got these things here. Let's make it slower. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I love it. I didn't even like it the other way. I want this, and I can just chill. That's it. I don't want to do anything else because I really like this. You can go in here and start messing around with things. Cut it now. Now they're going to the center. Now it's going outward. Let's move down to scale. Move up the scale. Ooh. Oh, I'm really liking this now. So much I had to delete it. That vector grain is now one of my favorite things. So here is the lesson, guys. Here is the lesson. You've seen me on these SDHOs over the last couple of months. I've used vector grain a lot. And it literally took me, I don't know, 5 or 6 times to figure out that if I just scroll that up, and then those other controls, I just had to use it a few times. So don't give up. If you're opening up Wavetable or Operator or Vector Grain or Simpla, because apparently you have to say it like that now, or Jita on the LFO. And by the way, all these voices I do, they're not supposed to be like accents of like certain countries. They're just supposed to be me with weird things. Maybe that's why I do music, because I have like weird sounds and rhythms and patterns in my head. Always did my whole life. I just say them, okay? So if you're like, that's a really bad accent of these, no, I'm not. I'm not like an accent expert. Never will be, never was. I'm just having fun and letting out all of these sounds because it's therapeutic. Quick little story time, because I used to be very interested in whatever magic was. And when I mean magic, I don't mean like, ooh, I've got a couple of red balls in my, or here's a red ball. And then, they do the thing, and then there's like a bunch of balls, and then it's like, okay, pick a card, any card. That's what's called sleight of hand. That's like what a stage magician does. I mean like what a real magician was back in like the Renaissance period or the Middle Ages or whatever, you know what I mean? Which I think you could also substitute the word alchemist, you could substitute the word wizard. And I always was curious, what actually is magic? You know what I mean? And where the hell was I going with that? I was going to relate it back to music. Darn it. Sometimes I go on so many tangents that I forget what I was trying to say. It'll come back to me, don't worry. No, we don't want simpler bouncy, but what we do want is MIDI track. And we're going to go to Max for Live, Zigranulacja. Drag it into Zigranulacja. It's good, good. Now, I don't believe I said I wanted to know what real magic was. Oh yes, and so I was reading this book of this magician guy, who I believe was in like the Golden Dawn. Have you ever heard of that? But which I believe originated in England or Britain. I don't know whether to call it England or Britain. I don't know. Don't get upset with me. So maybe you know something about that. I believe it was Israel Regardie, and in one of his books, he postulated that the human being has all of this energy, all this electricity, electromagnetic energy that's always just shooting around our bodies, and like we need to like plug it in, you know, to like remove it. Not like removing it because it's bad, but like taking all of this energy and like flushing it out, and that's like good, which is also why, you know, people talk, like the hippies among us talk about like walking on the grass, like to earth, you know, it's because like it's supposed to balance the energies within us. And he was saying, and it was really hard to read the book, because like if you read books that people wrote like in the early 1900s or the 1800s, like it's almost like they talk a different English. He kind of went on to say like a lot of times when people are like sick, or, you know, whether it's like a physical thing or a mental thing, it's because they've got so much damn energy inside, and like it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? It's not going to like them playing the piano or them doing sound design or them doing a lot of this talking and stuff. Like it's just staying in their body, and then the excess of that doesn't move, because like energy is supposed to flow. You know what I mean? And it's almost like there's too much, and it's like. So do whatever you can. That's why like some people be like, hey, you know, to help with mental health stuff, go work out, because you're moving that energy around, you know? Sometimes like I feel like I need to just do a lot of talking, and I'm like, oh, perfect. Do like an SDHO. Like I'm getting this out. Like today I woke up feeling great, but then I just started getting like tense, you know, maybe because I was drinking coffee, which I need to stop drinking so much coffee. And I should stop feeling guilt about it. It's kind of like a coping mechanism. I don't need energy. I have too much energy. I could give you all a bunch of energy, but it's almost like a coping mechanism. These past 3 years have been kind of tough. Smash a like if you know what I mean. So, granulator. I think we're going to cap it at granulator, because we did like vector grain, and now we've got another grain. Or maybe we will just do emit very quick just for shits and giggles. So you've got two views on grain. Remember I said like you always want to look at it as like tabs? Well, this might not be obvious, but there's just two tabs. See right here, it says view, it says grain. Click it. Now we've got the filter section, which is really the filter and the amp. So you've got amp right here. So if I click a button, well, I did not think it was going to be that ridiculously loud. Let's turn down grain. Oh no, that's gain for this dumb filter. I think you just do the master volume. Let's go back here. Grain, see filter, grain, filter, grain, filter, grain. Okay, so I don't want it over here. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of like the same sound, but let's just move it over here. It's like the same thing. So grain size. Let's move up the grain size. The most important things is going to be file position. Where do you want it to be? And you can move it around. Too much, too much, too much. Let's go over to this filter. Where is filter A? Let's, on a low pass. So we should remove a lot of that high if we do this. And if not, we can always use an auto filter. right now I'm still a little bit annoyed with the sound. Why am I a little bit annoyed with the sound? Oh, sweet googly moogly, it's just because it's too bright. Now, how do I adjust that? Well, you just play a lower note on your keyboard, but I'm playing a laptop, so I need to go into MIDI effects, drop a Pietz. Like a delay when I'm hitting it. I don't know why that's the case. Click zoom. One's a fool. Look, there's a bunch of these. Now I want to get a little bit of LFO in this file position. The only problem is that when you do this LFO, it kind of sucks. So I'm going to take this cycle down as low as it can go, and I'm going to add a little bit of LFO here to file position. Let's see if it doesn't suck. I haven't had good luck with this LFO in here. For some reason, it just seems like it's not an LFO, which is fine. That's why it's great that we've got our LFO devices. So let's see. Let's just do a little bit. It just sounds like it's just giving it white noise. So I don't like this. Maybe I'll use it at some point in the future. I don't care. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the audio effects and get the LFO. Take the depth down very muchly. Take the rate down very muchly, because it's just a little bit. A lot of times with these, it's just a little bit. Map it to the file position. So look, it went all the way up. I don't want it all the way up. I want to get it back. So go to offset. Let's take it back down to like 13 or wherever it was, and let's see what it does. See how like it's moving a little bit? Let's give it a little bit more rate. Too much. Okay, what do we need? You know exactly what we need. Oh, Spectrum. Oh, yeah, Spectrum. And why do I say it like that? Because it's like you're all happy. Oh, Spectrum. But like it's just Spectrum. You know, it's not like it's doing anything, but like it is. So it's kind of like, yeah, Spectrum. But if you're having fun here, smash a like, support, subscribe, get your NFT game going. At some point in the future, everyone's gonna have a crypto wallet. You know, so you might as well at least figure out how to do some of that now and support someone you know and love. And if you don't know and love, if you don't love the show, I don't know why you would even be watching these, because this is like future content. You know what I mean? Like this is future content. Like this is who I am. I'm sharing what I love. You guys love it. It's good. I don't have any agenda other than to do awesome stuff, have community, have fun, and yeah, smash that darn like. Let's keep going. Let's put up the depth. Look at how it's moving. Oh, we need more release. That's why it doesn't sound good. So go to grain here, click Sie Filter. Crank up the release. Good. Too much. Maybe we want a little bit of an attack. Now keep in mind, remember when I said anytime you open up a synth, find out where the envelope is, the volume envelope? It's right here. See, amp envelope. Anytime you hear amp, volume, amp, amp. Which is funny because like I'm from the Midwest in the US, so I'd probably say, hey, put on some amp, and then let's go watch the Bears. The Bears are going to play the Packers. Hey, do you got any them bratwurst for the tailgate? I want some sausages. I want some bratwurst. I need my Dick Butkus jersey. And we're going to then go out in Chicago after the game. Probably get some tacos and probably drink even more beers. So I can't believe I said amp. Turn on some amp envelope. Be like, hey, put on some amp envelope and turn on the Bears. I think the Bulls are going to have a good season this year. Too bad we can't get Air Jordan back up in there. The Midwest, it's an interesting place. Look how it's moving. And what I find is also really good to see the spread down here. Now take a listen. First of all, I'm going to take this depth down a lot more, and let's go to spread. So you got the panning. Wonderful, wonderful. Done. Okay, what's the last victim on my list? No, 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 no. Wonderful. Keep going. We'll come back to admit. I think admit's what we need. It's the final one. Final challenger. Fight! External instrument. Let's make sure we didn't miss any. No, 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 no. Not a sampler. No, we already did it. No, I love you. We're coming back to you next time. We need to give you a lot of love. A lot of love. I love it. Yeah, that's it. Well, I should probably go into Max for Live. No, 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 no. Granulator 2 already did it. Yep. We've made it, folks, to the end. Amit wanted to do it. You didn't do sampler. We don't do sampler anymore. We do simpler on this channel because we are the people's champ of Ableton. We're the people's champ because this is the realest Ableton content you can get. There's a lot of good channels out there, but this is the realest. I'm a real person. I'm not like, hey, I'm some teacher, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, this is what like a real person does that learns Ableton, right? So support the channel or this could go away at some point. Give me some juice to want to keep making these. Come on, let's go. Oh my God, look at this beautiful waveform. I've never seen it look like this. Now, if I put it on MIDI, it would stop. Why would it stop? Because now we're in MIDI mode. Now we can play. Now, why is there a delay on that? By the way, guys, did you notice that we haven't used any audio effects, yet we've gotten amazing sounds? If you know sound design that well, you don't even need audio effects. Whereas a lot of other people who are mostly just doing like samples and doing other things, they have to use audio effects to make things sound better. We make it sound better at the source because that's why we understand sound design. I would almost go so far as to say that you almost... The deck is stacked so hard against you if you're trying to make music in Ableton if you don't know sound design basics. So that's why you're with me along for the ride because I go over sound design better than anybody and I go over every single thing in Ableton with the same amount of ability. And when I do learn something new, I tell you about it. We upgrade, we level up together, but I don't want it to be on MIDI. And why does it sound like there's like a delay? I don't like that. I think it's because... Let's crank up release. Take this attack off. Let's move this in. Now, take a look. Left to right is frequency. Up to down, vertically is like shooting them up the frequency of wherever it is. You can move this thing around, you know what I mean? So we could like put it at the beginning. You can hold it down, but I don't want to do that. Click MIDI off. Now we're getting notes. Let's do some more bursts. Let's get some bursts going on. Wow, it's giving me some like stereo panning movement. That's interesting. Didn't expect that. Let's turn up the grains. Let's make the rate faster. Let's make the lifetime longer. Make it like 4. Let's give it more speed. Go over to the speed knob. And look at this angle here. We can shoot them down. We can shoot them up. Oh, how dare you. Oh, okay, that's why. Shoot them up. We could get the LFO and let's modulate that. And let's move this thing over here. So you can like scan this around, right? I actually like the sound of that. The force. The force. Use the force. Use the force. I use the force. Let's go over to the grain. No, I'm not trying to get that hippy dippy today. Let's go back to the emit. Let's move this around. Look at this. This is the future. That's why I called it the future of sampling. What should we do? That was too much. I'm gonna go to MIDI effects, drop a pitch, and I'm gonna shift it down and see if that makes it go bassier. Audio effects. I don't like this high frequency crap. Drop an auto filter. I need more bass. Why is this like so? Because it's emitting on its own. I need to figure out how to like lower, get these like sounding deeper. Where would be the thing that would make it go deeper? Because I mean, I took this down. This is doing nothing. This is doing nothing. Oh, I've got an idea. Why don't we go to Shifter? One of the devices I like never use. I think this one was new for Ableton Live 11. Will this work if I do this? Yeah, it's doing it. Wow, I finally figured out a use for Shifter. But now let's make it faster. Oh, I hope you like that. I have a lot of energy today. So like the next time I'm on, I might be like, hey guys, so today we're going to be opening up Wavetable and we're going to be making some crazy groovy tones. And then we're going to move into some of our favorite samplers of Ableton. And it's going to be very nice, very chill, very sensual. And then people are going to be like, well, what was the other sound design hangout about? I don't know. I'm on edge today. That's how you heal. You know what I mean? Like when you're on the spiritual path, when you're healing, it's not like you're all of a sudden Mr. Hippy Dippy Trippy. You know what I mean? And I think we all know that guy. You know what I mean? But like if you're really going through a spiritual awakening process, like you have days where like you aren't all Mr. Enlightened. You're just like kind of on edge. You're kind of noticing a lot of things that bother you, that like you thought didn't bother you anymore, and it's almost like you're retesting yourself, almost like you're coming around full circle to be like, you know. I also heard it said like a different way as well. That when you do feel kind of like you've taken a step backwards, you know, you're actually in like a void period. You're in like a void moon period. I never even knew about what a void moon was in astrology, but yeah, you're in like a void period where it's like the old you is, or that old aspect of you is kind of like in the process of being like just blitzed out of your system, but that hasn't completed, and the new version of you that, you know, has gotten to that next level, it's like the computer hasn't been booted on yet, so you're kind of in this like in-between phase, almost like a cocoon, like chrysalis, and then time goes by and then whoop, you pop out and then you're all chilled and enlightened again. But in any event, I had so much energy, had to get it out. Not even like good energy, just I don't know. So hopefully that was cool. Hopefully I haven't been repping the NFTs very hard. Whenever you hear everyone talking about Patreon, I would just rather like just do NFTs instead, because I think it's cooler, and I think you guys all need to know about crypto, because at some point, like, you're gonna probably need to have a crypto wallet and gonna need to know how to do that stuff, for reasons that, you know, reasons might dictate that you need such, you know, like I'm here in the US, like we've got the strongest currency that might not stay around for a while. There's a lot of countries that have huge inflation, like Venezuela, Argentina, Turkey, you know what I mean? Like they need some sort of stable store of value, you know, and so it's forcing people to learn this new technology that was created specifically, you know, in terms of fiat currency debasement. And so it's still in its early phases, but there's all these other cool things you can do with blockchain technology, but it all starts with wallets. So you would normally buy crypto on an exchange like Binance, and then you would send it to your own self-custody crypto wallet where you can do with it with what you want. And also, by the way, that secret SDHO, that the first person who is either already bought an NFT and already has it or is yet to and will, I go into like a briefer on things you would want to know about crypto, specifically like how you would track them, showing you like market caps, trading volume, what to be aware of, some other things. So that might be pretty cool. Go get your hands on that. Support. This channel is going to keep going and moving forward. One of the other SDHOs, we're going to go back and do like a fun digital art hangout, because I can teach you guys how to do digital art, can teach you guys how to do 3D computer graphics, can teach you guys how to, like, the basics of making videos. Is knowing the basics of how to make videos. Like, everyone needs to make videos. Everyone puts out digital content that you would watch on TV, watch on YouTube, you know, whether it's a video for Instagram, Facebook, if you even use that anymore, TikTok, whatever. Like, you want to be able to make your own videos. And so everyone's got like a video program. If you have any Apple product, you already have iMovie on there. You don't need anything more than iMovie to start making videos. And if you have a PC, I can almost guarantee you it comes with some sort of basic rudimentary video editor. So if you don't know, look into that. I already got the answer for you if you're on an Apple. You've got iMovie. Congratulations. I can guarantee you PC's got some sort of rudimentary video editor as well. And if you don't, and if you don't like iMovie, well, I'm pretty sure there's like a lot of free good video editors. I can't remember the one that a lot of people use. And heck, there's even a video editor in Blender, and Blender is free. And it's not just 3D computer graphics art, it's 2D as well. So you can like draw in there and bring your 2D animations to life. Let's learn all of this. All I ask is that you support the channel, subscribe. Yes, God bless you.